Why is that link not clickable for?
It's not clickable. Can't click that shit. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Controller. I'm Gladys, and joining me once again is Cryptic Panther.
Hey everybody.
Uberyoutuber.
What's going on?
And Fatti.
Hey.
Fatti Boobalatti. And we are back here today with a lot of gaming news, as always, and a fun but challenging new game of the week. Many curse words were had by Cryptic Panther in this gaming session.
Just a few.
Just a fair warning ahead of time. There was ever
If you guys have audio
safe...
this week, that is.
Oh. Wow, pulling no punches in the first 2 minutes here.
Jesus.
Just like prom. All right, so Panther, the first gaming news is going to go to you. And you said, if I remember correctly, you have something to say to the good 2 listeners that we have. Go ahead.
Sir. I have 3 fans. I think 4 maybe.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think we might have 4. But yes, I done the edit of the podcast last week, and I put the video in, and I done all it up, and it was working. And for some reason, when I hit render, the audio for the video section failed. And I just did not have it in me to go back and re-edit the fucking thing. So I apologize. I hope when I edit the podcast this week, I'm not going to make the same mistake. But I'm not making any fucking guarantees.
You never know.
No. And I think, Baker, you're a little more eloquent with words. Maybe you should give a shout out to someone who done something very nice for us this week.
That's right. Yeah, we had a finally somebody come in and participate in a way that we didn't foresee. We had a guy. What was his name? Uber.
JY Movie Guy.
JY Movie Guy. That's right. I should have remembered that because he did some astounding work for us, actually. And seemingly no time, he whipped up a few different variations of some thumbnails for us and some image backgrounds that look professional as hell. So officially from the team, I think we've all tweeted at you here, but here and now, once again, we were totally blown away and can't thank you enough for the efforts that you made for us. We really appreciate that. Thank you, bud.
Very, very much. Very awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so Panther.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of nowhere, too. All right, go ahead, Panther. Talk to us about Rainbow Six Siege.
So, Rainbow Six Siege players who use slurs are now getting instantly banned. So, dropping hate speech in Rainbow Six now comes with automatic consequences. And this, unfortunately, this article, if you haven't already heard it, is from July 13th. So, a little behind on this one. It got missed last week. But since it said yesterday, so back in the first half of July here, dozens of players have been saying they've received an automatic insta-ban after using racial or homophobic slurs in text chat. Ubisoft has confirmed to PC Gamer via email the new banning system is live. The bans seem to last for 27 minutes for the first event, and then prevent you playing from any aspect of Siege, including terrorist hunt or custom games. Upon second and third offense, the ban increases to 2 hours. A third offense, an official investigation into the account is conducted and could lead to permanent bans.
Nice.
People have tweeted at Ubisoft. One guy's like, "Fuck you guys, I got a ban for saying," and he uses the word nibba. In chat, Rainbow Six Siege tweeted back, "Good." Like, I'm all for amongst your friends to say stuff in an audio chat, because you're talking hopefully in a group chat with friends and everyone has the same type of sense of humor. Things get said, hopefully nothing get taken out of context. But when you're playing an online game and you start typing in stuff into a chat to be just a piece of shit, you deserve the bans, and I applaud them for this.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely something that needs to be looked at on a pretty large basis, and I hope other gaming communities take a look at this and say, hey, we need to step it up. But I mean, they're just going to use, different words in between to mask their slurs and their cursing to
right, like the guy that we just played against.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, one other fellow tweeted at Rainbow Six. He says, banning people for saying, and I'm not going to say the word, on an M-rated game, glad to see you're focusing on the real issues. And they replied, fighting against toxicity and cleaning up the Siege environment is a very real and important issue. So I mean, I don't understand why you feel the need to type it into a chat, anyways. So I think
Yeah, I
that
mean, I don't see the player's defense in that case. Like, hey, I'm being a total dick, and that should be okay with you.
yeah, it's an M-rated game, but it's not a racist game. So there's no rating for that. Make
Yeah,
your own game
R
with
for
your own.
racist.
Yeah, there you go. Make your own game with your own rules, and you can call everyone the N word in the chat all day long. But yeah, I applaud Rainbow, the Ubisoft team, for doing this, and it should be something that other online markets look at for sure.
It should be just
I agree.
automatic at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it really should be. Because it's, I mean, it's you got all types of people playing these games, and I mean, granted, this is a rated mature game, but still, you shouldn't automatically be exposed to things like that, right? There should be some kind of buffer. So
Well,
that's
yeah.
nice that they're implementing that.
And like
Well,
I
and
said,
just because it's a virtual space doesn't mean that it's not, still under societal norms and boundaries, like in a crowded
That's
room of
right.
people, you don't shout that shit, So when it's virtual, it's a virtual room, but there's people there still behind that. You don't just say
That's
shit
right.
like
It's
that.
still a community. Yeah.
Yeah.
and like I said, not that I'm offended by it. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but it's just like there's they're using it for shock value is the biggest reason, and to me, like, you just ignore it, usually goes away, but then after a while it's like I'm just tired of seeing it like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, like I said, I bravo, stand up, clap, the whole works. Good stuff.
Right on. All right, so Uber, talk to us about your favorite company here, EA.
Yes. So the Madden team, some more turnover here at EA Madden as
Is
the
that a
senior
football pun?
producer. Yeah, you like that?
Another
The
turnover.
the senior producer Carlos Guerrero has been removed from EA after just 2 months. I think he started in late May, maybe. He took over for Rex Dixon, who was there for the better part of a decade, I believe, at EA, and he's kind of he's been the main cog in Madden's vision these last 10 years. So Carlos Guerrero took over, who previously worked on titles like Overwatch and World of Warcraft. A lot of people praised his influence on those games, and apparently he was supposed to take Madden into this new era of possibly offering Madden as a games as service model, but he has been removed after just 2 months. And we don't know many details about the move, but we do know that I don't think it was voluntarily. I think it was EA that let him go. And they did release a statement, and they said, due to behavior that is against EA policies, including our global code of conduct and respectful workplace policy, Carlos Guerrero is no longer with EA. So that leads, I mean, who knows what happened there, but nonetheless,
dropping slurs on Rainbow Six Siege.
maybe so.
The stories
Maybe
were
so.
linked and we didn't even know.
Right. I don't know much about the guy, but just reading about his resume and stuff, he seems to have been around quite a bit and had some influence on some big titles. So seems a bit out of character, but who knows what happened there. But nonetheless, that's a lot of turnover here on the Madden team. I don't think it's going to affect this year's Madden so much as it does next year's. And I was already curious how that would pan out after Rex left, because Rex was really just kind of the glue that held it all together. And a lot of people were upset when he left the Madden team in May. And then Carlos Guerrero got on board, and I don't think a lot of EA Sports people or fans of the game knew much about him. So I'm not sure what that's going to do or who's going to be in charge now. It looks like Ron Harvey is going to be the executive producer from now on an interim basis. But we'll see what happens. We'll see who's the next person to jump in that seat.
So
The most shocking thing out of this is that Madden has a creative director. That position exists for the roster update game.
Yeah.
they have a story
Hey guys,
mode
this
now,
year I have
though.
an idea. Yeah, that's
Get
true.
out.
They did add that. But Yeah.
So this guy was fired because he done something unbecoming to the company. So either he whipped his dick out at a fucking charity at a group function, or he said he wasn't putting loot boxes in the game. So it was
Yeah,
one of the
maybe.
two
You know,
things. Yeah, it's against the company rules because he said no to loot boxes, so they fired his ass.
Right.
Or he pulled his pecker out at a fucking at a party. Who knows? That's
My
pretty.
guess here, just pure speculation, if I had to take a guess, he said something that some people didn't like at EA. And I don't think it was something derogatory or offensive. I think it may have been something that had to do with the direction of the game.
Oh, for
And
sure.
the guys,
Yeah.
the guys in the suits, the guys in the suits didn't like what he had to say, and that's it. Because I do think that that's how they operate there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. Sad.
Mhm.
Speaking of sad, Fatti, your next subject is sad, but also for me personally, I find a little funny. But go ahead and tell us what that is.
Well, I'm certainly not weeping any kind of tears, but the Culling 2 basically fell on its face right from the get-go and is now done. It was released, 2-3 weeks ago, I think, and it immediately tanked right away. It got a week full of negative reviews, and its player base dropped into the single digits, which means 9 and under. I've never seen a game do that. Basically, at this point, though, the developer said that they're stopping the Culling 2. they're shutting it down. They've pulled it from Steam. It's done. They're going to pretend like it never existed and issue people refunds if they paid the $20 for the game. Basically, in an announcement, the creator, Josh Van Velde, said that it became obvious the game was never asked for and was not the game players expected as a worthy successor to the first one. So they pretty much walked backwards and said, no, we're not going to play this game anymore. We're done. We'll take it off the servers. Let's pretend it didn't exist. As for more details, what they say is they're going to go back to supporting the Culling 1, which was released as basically an early battle royale game, which had this sort of game show vibe where last one standing wins. So they're going to go back to that and support it and put out updates. And I believe what they said is they're going to be making it free to play, and it'll be coming back out as the Culling Day 1. So I don't know. Personally, to me, I've never seen a game flop so bad that the developer basically said, no, we didn't make it. Let's just
that they agreed that it flopped so bad.
Yeah, where they literally just pulled it off Steam. They were no more of that shit. They're like, no, let's just delete it. Go wipe the hard drives. We're done with it.
And it was pulled from
bizarre.
PlayStation 4, so I don't know what the PS4 are they issuing refunds there as well.
Yeah, it said straight across the board, so
Okay.
consoles and PC.
Oh, good stuff.
Anyone who bought it is eligible
I
for
figured as
for a
much, but
refund.
like I said, I didn't get a chance to review the whole article. And once I heard about PS4 getting it removed there as well, so
I believe it was removed on Xbox as well. So
yeah, so it is funny for a dev to go, this game is that bad, we're not even going to try and fix it. Like there's no like here's 312 patches. Here's
what gets me is it's only been after 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it hasn't been out for any longer than 2.5 weeks, and they were like, no, we fucked up. This is shit.
We're not even going to try and fix it. We're going to, that's crazy that they didn't even like say, well, give us 2 weeks and we'll throw a big patch at it and see if we can. No, they just said, fuck it, we're done. So they're going to go back to the first one and they're going to turn around and make it a free to play game.
Yeah, so they're going to be transitioning into a free to play, and they didn't give any kind of dates on when that'll be done. But they basically just said they're just going to keep supporting that. And I don't know, maybe they'll one day return to the Culling 2, but it doesn't seem too positive.
So,
and from what I understand, is the Culling 2 is really not a sequel to the first one, right? Even though the title, but the actual game itself doesn't resemble anything the first game did, right? Is that right? Or
essentially, from what I've read, it couldn't separate itself from any of the other battle royale games out there, like PUBG and stuff. It was just real generic and didn't represent any of the uniqueness that the Culling 1 had. So, I guess they thought that was a good idea to go that way, but obviously they don't now.
Well,
While trying to cash in, of course.
since the first Culling may
Right.
be going free to play, that could be a game of the week.
Yeah, we could go try
in
it.
about 9 months when they get that game fixed. Because that's one
Well,
of the
that was
reasons-
fairly well reviewed, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know how much they were supporting it at the back end recently, because I think that was one of the kind of the criticisms were like, well, the culling still needed stuff fixed, or they hadn't been updated in a while, and they kind of disappeared, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, here's a brand new shiny game to play, and no one knew it was even coming. So yeah, like I was just wondering if they kind of, oh well, we're not making enough money off this anymore, let's make a new game so people have to rebuy everything. I'm not sure what their train of thought was, but. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like, it'd be nice it'd be nice if they get at least one game running 100% before they try to make a second one.
I'm looking at the Steam page for it right now, and the Culling has a 59% positive review.
Yeah.
So not great. Definitely mixed.
Yep, for sure.
But it had a decent player base, I think. I mean, it had more than 9 people. I think it had at least
More than 9,
or 15 people playing.
And there were literally dozens of them. Yes.
Actually, there wasn't dozens of them though. That was the problem.
No, in
Yeah.
the first one.
Oh, the first one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The second one had a baker's dozen.
Less than that.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, like we've said, I mean, I've never seen or heard of a dev that agrees with the community when they trash it. Like, everyone else is like, we're gonna stay committed to focusing on this game, and we're gonna make it better, the game you deserve, yada yada. All the buzzwords and the PR lines that people expect to hear from a company that's backpedaling like that. But yeah, never ever have seen them just say, "Yep." And then get rid of it.
But kudos to them for saying, okay, you know what? Here's your money back. Let's just pretend this never happened. At least they're giving the money back, right? Like, they're not taking the money,
at least
all $80 of it and running with it. I'm sure 4 out of those 9 were review copies. So
probably.
It was so shitty. The guys that got it for free fucking didn't even want to play it.
the only time I ever remembered such a low player base was NBA Live. I think it was 16 or one of the NBA Lives that was just an absolute disaster. And it was like that, where a month after release, there was 80 people online, because they actually had a little thing that showed how many people were online at a time. And it would be just like 80 people, 90 people, it's just like, wow, that's insane for a licensed sports title to only have, that low of a number of people online. That's the last time I remember something like that.
Yeah.
For the record,
There's
they
that,
did not
and
give
then-
anybody their money back, though.
Well, Friday got down to, I think, a couple hundred players on Steam.
Really?
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's not as bad. But yeah. I'm pretty sure that there was something like, I don't know, between 300 and 500 as of last month.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure that thing is dead as a doornail now that they announced no updates. But yeah, either way, anyways, we're straying off topic here. So continuing the topic trend of developers falling on their faces, I'm here to talk about No Man's Sky for a little bit. And this article that we have today is not really much in the way of actual information. It's just kind of an interview with Sean Murray, the mind behind No Man's Sky and the primary scumlord for what happened when it released. So this guy, if you guys have been living under a rock or on a different planet, they basically had hyped this game up, showed a bunch of gorgeous trailers, told everybody fantastic things about this game, and upon release and a few hours in, you kind of realize that it was all empty. And as I said pre-podcast to these guys, the best way to describe this game at release was that it was as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a puddle, and that there was 16 quintillion planets that you could go to that were quote-unquote procedurally generated. with different environments, different flora and fauna, and there were ships that you could, pick and do all kinds of stuff. But it turned out to just really be pretty empty. There was almost nothing to do and nowhere to go. And once you got there, again, nothing to do. So it was a constant grind for resources. Survival wasn't really that difficult. It was a huge letdown to almost the entire player base. And it took a while for people to come around and actually see how empty it was because the game was so huge. So you didn't know if you had visited only 5 planets. Well, if there's 16 quintillion, how can you say that you've sampled even a decent portion to figure out that there was nothing in the game? So it took actually dozens of hours to like really, really solidify what little there was, just because, you needed to go different places and see all this stuff. So basically this article now is a little retrospective. It's The Guardian actually talking to Sean Murray and just kind of talking away like what was going on around the time of release and why he's hesitant to talk to the press. Now this game absolutely did fail for a lot of people, myself included. I put probably 40 or 50 hours into it, but despite being not happy with the game, I knew that there was potential in the idea, but I went ahead and just uninstalled it. I haven't really touched it except for once or twice with some of the major updates. But a lot of people were a lot more aggressive in how much they were let down, and there was death threats, there was bomb threats sent to the studio, harassment of the people that worked at Hello Games, and what Sean Murray said was on a frightening scale, that they were in regular contact with Scotland Yard and the Metropolitan Police, and says it was as bad as things can get, basically. And that's scary. I never agreed with the violent reaction that people seem to throw at this game and at these people. As far as being disappointed with the game, I was extremely disappointed, and I felt pretty much robbed of the hype that I was giving this game and for the respect that I had for it, and also for dropping the money on it, But they've released since then 3 or 4 major updates. It's changed a lot of ways, and there's a new update next week that includes pretty much a full multiplayer, third-person mode. It adds more variations to a lot of things, updates the graphics. They've been doing a good job at updating this game. I can say that for sure, that it's come a long way. So, and maybe at some point I'll revisit it myself. Probably not soon, but basically, like I said, this article is just kind of a retrospective and the toxicity that the gaming community can have. It's a bad example of, how we treat developers and how we treat certain products, and we can't really separate the developers from the game or their personal lives. And it's sad, I don't respect people that take it that far. After all, it is just a game.
There's one thing of jumping on Twitter and saying, Sean Murray, the game you made is a piece of shit. Like, whatever. Like, you didn't deliver on what you promised. Like, there's one thing to be, upset, and maybe, to a level, there's a room to shit on them for giving you a game that they, that's quarter of what they promised, right? There's a little room. But they'll need death threats and calling bomb threats into the studio and threatening life. That's like, you're fucking crazy. If that's how upset you get over a video game, I hate to see some major event happen in your life, because you're definitely going to go right off the deep end. Like, it's just,
right.
It's sick. It's sick and sad.
Right. Yep. I think people were very upset with this sort of deceptive way of how this game was advertised.
Straight
yeah,
lies.
I get it.
Right. I mean, yeah. No, totally. And a lot of people were angry. I was, funny story. No Man's Sky, I think, was one of I think they showed it at the Sony presser at E3 in 2015. That was the first E3 I ever been to. That was my first presser I ever been to, and it was one of the first games ever shown. And I was like blown away by this game. So it always stuck in my mind, and I always remembered that title, and I couldn't wait for it to come out because it just looked. It looked insane to me. It was a game that I thought like we couldn't have as gamers. It was just so big. So what they advertised was just insane to me, and I couldn't wait for it to come out. And I picked it up day one, and just like many other people, so disappointed. And then you go back on the trailers and the interviews and the tweets, and then you read those, and yeah, we were lied to. It was very deceptive, but yeah, in no way does it warrant death threats, bomb threats, and things like that. That's just crazy. That's nuts. That is nuts.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I said, it's a low point for the gaming community. You
Yeah.
can trash on a game, you can talk shit on Twitter, whatever, but when you're threatening people's lives for, a piece of digital art that they worked on, whether you like it or not, and whether you're disappointed or not, it's not worth people's lives. At the end of the day,
Right.
like, you chose to buy and you were let down, you could get a refund. A lot of people did. And even if you got stuck with it, if you played too long and they wouldn't refund it for you, then, you lost out on $60 and that sucks, but it's not the end of the world for you. And it certainly doesn't justify threatening to end somebody else's world. I can tell you that.
Not even
No,
close.
That's
Not
right.
even close.
And kudos to them though for continuing to work on it. And from what I've heard is that this game is actually pretty decent now, years later. But I mean, they've been continuing to work on it. They've been trying to make it right. The mistake they made is they weren't upfront with us in the beginning, from the very get-go. They were very quiet, even after release. Right after it released, there wasn't much talk from the team, and I think that upset a lot of people. But I mean, they've been trying to right the ship as much as they can. It was a disaster, but I wouldn't mind downloading it after hearing this. I mean, it's gonna have, they've had some big updates to this game, so I wouldn't mind revisiting.
Yeah, and I did after several of the other updates. And with this one, it seems to be the biggest yet, or at least one of the most asked for features, which is basically a full multiplayer with the option to switch to third person, so you can actually see your character now. There's of course going to be some customization, but being able to actually travel to different planets with your friends now is a cool idea, and one of the things that I really wanted to do as well when I first got it. So I think it's going to be a different experience now than when you and I first booted it up on day one.
It'd be kind of interesting to see what their sale numbers have looked like over the last, year and a half since they've been slamming big updates on this. I wonder if people have actually, on watching other people replay the game and, maybe have a big change of opinion. I wonder if people have actually purchased the game.
Possibly. I mean, they had to have, at some point, because if there was no more money coming in, they wouldn't be able to just keep updating it.
No, I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's for the amount of work they put into this since the failed launch, either they got enough money on the launch that they were able to sustain all this time. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see what kind of numbers they actually sold after they've actually made those two first big patches to fix a lot of stuff.
Well, they sold millions of copies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they made bank on this game.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Steam page for it now just because I was curious. So out of 82,000 total reviews, only 38% are positive.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's because a lot of people, you just uniformly trash this game, and that might even be from some people that didn't own the game.
Right.
But
and a lot of people probably sorry to interrupt you, within the first week they probably reviewed, right? And
Sure, of course. So the recent reviews, though, and this is the important thing, is that in the last 30 days, 79% of reviews are positive.
Wow, that's a big turnaround.
That is
what's
a big
it sell
turnaround.
for on Steam right now?
It's still full price, $60.
Wow.
You can you can get it at any kind of used game store for like $10. I got mine for like dirt cheap.
Oh, so you have it too?
Yep.
Yeah.
You all
I played a lot, to tell you the truth.
You guys have it on PlayStation.
After all the updates, it's a completely different game. It's what they promised that we'd get with a few things missing, but right now with the updates it has and the update that's coming out, completely different world.
Huh. Interesting. Maybe if I could find it somewhere in a discount bin on PS4, I might grab it. Never know.
Could be
If
our
you do,
game of
that
the
could be
week.
a
One of
game
these
of the
weeks.
week.
Yeah, get that multiplayer Space Odyssey going.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so moving on, new direction here. Panther talked to us about Epic Games and another fail.
Yeah, it's kind of been the path of this podcast. So Epic's first official Fortnite competition was a total disaster. So Epic Games promising big things with Fortnite's first year of official competition, investing $100 million in prize money alone. The Summer Skirmish Series would kick things off with a $250,000 duos competition featuring big streamers, pros, top performers in the Showdown limited time mode, and bizarrely the subreddit mods. It was a train wreck. Some of the best competitors died to horrible latency issues, while the casters laughed it off. At one point, a private planning spreadsheet appeared on the screen to all viewers. 10 matches were promised, 4 were broadcast. A seemingly arbitrary invite list meant dozens of established pros and the best showdown participants were denied a chance to compete in the first place, with most of the prize money riding on nabbing 2 victory royales, playing as conservative and dull clinic in how to camp. So, of all the praise that Epic has been getting and all the praise and the bags of money and the love that get thrown at Fortnite on a minute-by-minute basis, they don't seem to know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to running a competition. That's fucking sad. Like, for the amount of hype that this game still carries after all these months, and for the amount of money that they're putting into this, and they fail that hard, like that's, and considering the other competitions that have been running, like these esports events that have been going on and off for the last few years, don't even come close to failing. So they either had the wrong people running it, or they just figured because who they were, they didn't have to really try that hard. That's pretty sad. Like, for people to be, promising 10 matches, they showed 4, nothing but lag, and then the game announcers laughing it off. Like, just sketchy.
Yeah.
Like, it seems.
Yeah, I want to hear Uber's response to that, because he's the Fortnite fan.
Yeah, he's the only one here that plays jump, shoot.
And build, don't forget.
Yeah, jump, shoot, build. Sorry, yes, that's what it's called.
I mean, it was their first real big tournament, right? Aside from the E3 thing that they had.
Right.
Official tournament. I know Keemstar is doing like a Friday night tournament.
That's why they failed. They didn't have Keemstar.
Oh,
that's right.
Keemstar.
That tournament is actually pretty flawless, from what I understand. But
he's still a thing, really.
But I mean, it's not like it's a buy-in type of thing where players have to pay their way into this tournament. I mean, this is all funded by them. Of course, they're going to have some kinks to be ironed out. I mean, that's to be expected, I think. It's not a great look for the first tournament. They had another one this past weekend. I'm not sure how that went. It was a solo tournament. I'll have to read up on it. I'm not sure if they had any issues like on the first tournament a week ago.
I haven't seen any big stories on the recent one, but this was their first one. And it said Epic was committed to broadcasting the series weekly for the next 2 months to avoid additional disaster. Like I said, they should know what they were getting into, and like I said, it's weird that they went in and it was so poorly organized and it came out as bad as it did. That's shocking. Like, it was like, they half-assed it. I mean, there's enough people out there that have been running these events for years that don't suffer these type of problems. And I mean, with the money that they committed to prize money alone and the money they have for support, they never seem to, in my mind, it seemed like they just didn't bother going after the proper people to set it up. Yeah, I mean, it's the first try, they fail, but I mean, for what they've been doing to come out of the gate with their first big competition and fall flat on their face, that's bad. Like I said, I don't know how the rest of the series are going to be, but I don't know. Like I said, it's negative Fortnite news, which isn't very common, so I thought it was a good topic.
Right.
Plus it's your favorite game, so.
I just read something too. Apparently, the winner of the summer skirmish was accused of cheating, and Epic defended them.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I literally just saw that as we were talking about this.
Oh, shit. Do we know if they actually were cheating?
Well, there'd be video footage of it.
What were they accused of?
Let me see
Yeah, I'm
here.
running through the articles. I don't remember seeing that.
This just in, breaking news.
Breaking news.
Did it? You need a little ticker sound.
So they were accused. There's a lot of accusations, but the main ones seem to be accusations of manipulating stats, leaving games as they begin, and queuing at the same time as other players in order to get easier kills against different opponents. They also stated that he was using a mouse and keyboard to play on his PS4. So I guess that was like before the tournament. He cheated when he played as well. I guess I don't know.
Mouse and keyboard is cheating?
If you're playing on console.
Why is that
But
cheating?
see,
though?
that's an actual that's an actual input on PS4. It's not like it's a workaround.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
exactly,
saying right
exactly.
now. Is what do you mean? That's built into the system.
Right. If it's in the game, it should be all fair game. But that's going to be an issue when they have tournaments that include players who are in the tournament and also just random people. You know, all these tournaments should be on private servers, I think, with people within the tournament, hosted by Fortnite or Epic
LAN party.
directly.
Yeah,
absolutely. And they should be in charge. They should be able. I mean, it's all on tape. It's all on film. Everybody gets has their gameplay recorded and stuff. But it should be on private servers all together. There should be no room for outside. For it just shouldn't be random like that, where there's other people in the game. The other thing that I always think of when it comes to a big money competition like that, some lobbies on Fortnite fill with 92 players in the map, some with 100, some with 87. I jumped into a game the other day with 62 players, and now if you're in a serious competition and it's all about who gets the most kills, you're at a big disadvantage if you launch into a lobby with 62 people compared to somebody that launches into a lobby with 98 people, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So things like that, I think that should all be controlled by Epic, and it should all be on a private server with just the contestants of this tournament.
But yeah, that'd be the rational thing to do.
Because
Absolutely.
like I said, the thing is too is it says here as a Porsche perspective, it's just because all players were playing remotely. That's a big problem. The action was almost impossible to follow, with perspective limited to hot swapping between competitors' Twitch feeds. I can't imagine tracking every stream at once.
That would be fucking horrible.
Spotting action and then coordinating with the production team to change the live feed, especially without disturbing the commentators. And then most of the broadcast consisted of players farming and hiding in wooden huts, punctuated by the occasional battle, totally removed from what the greater context in the match. So yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they'd have a tournament with not everybody in house playing on the same LAN, playing in a competitive style for money competition, not against, like, in other words, it's not like, why didn't they have 50 guys on one side, 50 guys on the other, and throw them in a match together? You know?
Exactly.
And,
that's the thing. You have other people.
Yeah, so they have
essentially it's like playing the NBA finals in your backyard basketball court. You know what I mean? That's what
everybody plays it at their house.
Yeah.
Right. kids throwing balls, through the hoop. That's essentially what it is. Now their tournament that they have for free. Go ahead.
If they're gonna drop $100 million in prize money, you'd think that they'd have just fucking flown these people out, Drop $1,000 on an airplane ticket, give them a hotel for the night, and say, "Hey, come compete."
Yeah, and make a show out of it, like.
Right. Yeah. Duplicate what they did for E3. I mean, they rented that big stadium out. They don't need to do that every week, but for E3, they rented the stadium out in LA, and they invited 100 of the biggest, personalities, YouTubers and Twitch streamers, and they just had 100 of them, and they all went at it, and it was a giant tournament, all hosted in a private server, all against each other. And from what I understand, that tournament went flawless.
Exactly. So why did they skip away from that and go to this. Oh, we'll just give you everybody's Twitch
Just
feed.
jump Twitch feeds.
Oh my god!
Right.
So you got one guy
You're
that's
relying
got one guy that's got like fucking flashy ass overlays and a bunch of hearts floating on the screen, flipping over another guy who's got no overlay on his screen. One guy's got a face cam. He's wearing a monkey mask. And what the fuck is this guy like? How would the commentators even have a clue what the hell they were commentating on? Like just
Right.
that just oh my god, fail.
Epic fail.
Nice.
Terrible. Yeah. So Epic, we know you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah,
of course.
we know.
We got you covered for the next one.
Yeah.
Just have your people talk to our people. Nothing, just crickets. All right. Uber, talk to us about the next console you're going to waste money on.
Yes. Oh, I wish. I do own a PS4 Pro already, but September 7th, we are going to get a limited edition Spider-Man PS4 Pro bundle. It's going to come with the game. It's a PS4 Pro that's skinned in the Spider-Man theme with a giant white spider on it. The console is all red. It looks beautiful. I love it. I wish I could burn another $400 on this system, but my wife would probably kill me. Definitely divorce me, but possibly kill me. But it looks gorgeous. It's going to come out September 7th along with the game. That's when the Spider-Man game releases. I'm super excited for this game. And I hope, I don't know if that's going to be a thing, but I hope the controller itself, just the controller, if I can buy the controller, I'll be happy. It's also red,
cool too.
White buttons, white thumbsticks. It looks beautiful. We'll put the link in the video description below so you guys can check that out. So if you guys haven't picked up a PS4 Pro and you guys are contemplating, you may as well wait, a couple, 6 more weeks and pick this one up, because this one's going to come with the Spider-Man game. It looks beautiful, and it may hold its value longer than the normal PS4 Pro because it is a limited edition. Not sure how that goes, but I would imagine if I was to buy one, I would go for that one rather than the generic one.
Oh, for sure.
So that's coming out. I'm not sure how the PS4 Pro sales are. I'm not sure when we're going to get a PS5 essentially, or what's going to go on there. How much longer we have this generation for. But if you were if you were contemplating getting one and you think you're going to make the move, just wait another few weeks and just get this one. That's my suggestion there. What do you guys think about it? You guys have seen the picture of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks rad. I love it.
It's sexy as
Pretty
fuck.
sweet.
I'm gonna
It
disagree
is.
with all of you guys. It looks cheap.
Really?
It looks
Really?
fucking cheap.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. If you're gonna make a special edition, which is it's essentially a collector's edition, right? It's not gonna be made after a while, so it's gonna be something that you want to have on your shelf. I don't know. I just think they could have put more effort into its looks. It just looks kind of boring to me.
Now, are you talking about the skin or the PS4 Pro itself? Because the PS4 Pro, I'm with you 100%. I don't think it's a very sexy 2018-ish look.
Well, I was talking about the skin itself, but the PS4 Pro, the design of the PS4 itself is kind of It's better than the
Totally.
Xbox One, but it's
Hey, now.
ish. But no, I do not like the skin. I don't know. I guess I'm an outlier in this case.
The screenshots don't look too bad. There was a post on Twitter. A fellow took a picture of it, like an IRL picture, and it looked pretty good. I like the look of it. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of red, that's for sure. But I think it looks good.
Yeah.
The controller looks fucking tits. I love that controller.
Yeah, I love the controller too.
But
I hope that's a standalone item that you can pick up
Yeah,
too.
it'd be stupid if they didn't. They'll sell a bunch of those. But yeah, I mean,
Totally.
I have a white PS4 Pro, and
Ooh.
it's whatever. I was buying one anyways. I just got the Destiny edition. There's nothing special, but it's just white. There's no logos on it. The God of War one was fucking nice. I wish.
Yeah,
yeah,
like that one.
yeah. So that's what sucks when you buy one of them and then all these other ones come in. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Why can't I have that?
Yeah, Why can't they do like the skin plates or something? And
So
just
yeah, you can
removable
buy
plates?
like vinyl shit, but then Yeah, but you should be
True.
you should be able to buy a top piece or something and put right on. I know I'd buy one. Maybe
Yeah.
not, maybe not
The
the
only
Spider-Man
I'm
one.
with Fatty on the aspect where if this is your entertainment system and in your living room, if you don't have a gaming setup like most of us do, on hardcore gamers, but if you use this in your living room, if you got some nice oak furniture and stuff, it may not blend in nicely,
Yeah, okay.
right?
So let me
Kind of-
put it that way. Let me put it that way. It's red with a gigantic ass white spider on it. And it sticks out. So if you're putting it into a nice entertainment stand where you're gonna have like friends around and stuff, and that's gonna be your centerpiece, it's gonna stick out like a motherfucker. I mean, for me, I just have a PS4, but it's the gold PS4, and it's flashy, but it's subtle enough that it sort of blends in. But when it comes to the special edition, I think they just could have done more. I mean, I compare it to a lot of the Xbox Ones that have special editions. You look at the Halo one that came out. It's this real nice like design on it. You look at the Gears of War one. It's this nice metallic blue. It's not this obnoxious, just bright as fuck red that has absolutely nothing but a spider on it. It just bothers me.
The biggest thing with this, the only way it looks good is if you have it on a stand standing up. I mean, that just makes it
bigger.
But I mean, if you have it set up in a room where that all your gaming gear and stuff is, and that's something the aesthetic is cool and you like it, I think it works. But I agree with you on the point they could have done more, but I still think it looks cool.
I think if you're a big Spider-Man fan, this is the thing for you. This is the one where you're going to want to nail a shelf to the wall and set this up there so fucking everyone can see it. But if you're not a huge Spider-Man fan, it looks tacky, dude. It's just, I don't know.
I'm sure they played with the color schemes, and I'm sure a black PS4 Pro with like a red spider on there would have looked pretty cool, but that's probably not distinguishable enough from just the regular black PS4 Pro.
I think they
thought
could
they
have
could
put
make a
like the
splash.
actual Spider-Man character on the top, maybe. I don't know. I think it looks cool, but I agree with Fatty to the point where they could have done a little bit more to it to really set it off, but I think it still looks pretty cool. But
yeah, I mean, they could have added a little more metallic to it, or maybe added this like web stitching of his suit around it. That might be kind of cool. But
that would have been awesome. There you go.
One thing I would like to see from these limited, quote unquote, systems all across the board, Xbox, PS4, whatever, I would like them to kind of have a little plaque that shows number 337 out of 1,800, or however many they make of these things.
Yeah, that'd be
these
cool.
things. That would be kind of cool. Kind of like a baseball card, right? Like a collector's item, to where you can actually see, okay, I own one of however many that they've made. I think that would be kind of a nice touch to really make you feel like it is limited edition. I feel now they say limited edition, but that
is
just
it
depends
really?
on how many they sell.
Yeah, it's
right?
really mass produced.
Oh yeah, it is.
How many do they sell? And if the demand is high, they're going to keep making them, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because if it was truly a limited edition, the price should be jacked up. If it was limited run of like say 12,000 consoles, then the price should be probably like $600 to $700, not $400.
Right.
It definitely would be different. So yeah, it'd be like buying those collector's editions for games. Those are limited. I don't know if they've released the numbers, but those do sell out pretty fast at times. So yeah.
True.
So mixed reviews on the PlayStation 4 limited edition for
mixed
for
reviews.
Spider-Man.
I tell you what, if I see that control, I am snagging it up. I'm getting it. I must have this controller.
I still have a silver one in the box, so I'm good for PS4 controllers right now. But yeah, if it comes out and they're on sale, I'll definitely be getting one too. Yeah, they're cool. The controller's badass.
All right, moving on here.
Can you at least agree on that, Fatty?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
Man.
All right.
They could have done more with the controller.
Yeah,
they could have. No, I mean, I'm serious though. Like the what is that pad called? The middle
D-pad. Yeah.
Is that the D? No,
touchpad.
D-pad is the cross.
Oh,
right?
the touchpad.
Touchpad.
Yeah.
See, they could have put that little spider on there. That would have been like a nice touch. Or on the back
And the
of
webbing.
it, like
Yeah.
Or a comic Spider-Man.
Oh,
or
webbing.
something.
Good call. Webbing would have been perfect right there. And then maybe put a spider on the, where you hold it, the two handles, something like that.
So here we go. Epic, get in touch with us. We'll help you run a esports event. Sony, get in touch with us. We'll help you design your fucking next PlayStation 4 Pro.
We do it all.
Yeah, we're a one-stop shop.
That's right. We're not just a bunch of pretty faces.
Exactly.
That's right. All right, so moving on to our next serious topic here. Fatti, another video game movie attempt. Which one is this for?
So this is for Metal Gear Solid, which is a series that lies near and dear to me. The article is basically, finally, movie fans can rejoice and see that a director is trying not to fuck up a video game movie for once. You know,
Yeah.
He's basically saying that he really wants to make this a good movie for the fans of the game, which universally we've seen bad video game movies come out all the time. You know, any video game movie, I don't think there's been a good one in a long time. They've all pretty much sucked. But so the director, Jordan, I'm going to butcher his name, Vaughn Roberts or something. He directed the latest Kong movie. He announced a little while ago that he wants to do a movie on the Metal Gear Solid story. Metal Gear Solid being a game that was developed by Konami way back in the day. It's had many different sort of series continuations. It was created by Hideo Kojima, which he's a weird dude. He is a weird dude. He's doing Death Stranding. No one knows what the fuck that is still.
He doesn't
everyone's
even know
hyped
what it
about
is.
it. No, he doesn't even know. He's just like, we had Norman Reedus walk up a mountain, and you know people are gonna buy it.
And there's a baby in his.
There's a
belly.
baby, and Guillermo del Toro is somewhere in there, so they're gonna buy it. Anyway,
Plus, Mads Mikkelsen.
I already
Yeah.
pre-ordered it, so
yeah, there you go. There you go. Don't even
Without
know what
knowing
the fucking
what
game
it
is.
Nope.
Pre-order.
no idea.
Jesus. Anyway, so Jordan spoke with IGN a few days ago, basically saying that he understands how important the MGS story and MGS world is to its fans, and the fan base of this game is very passionate. Metal Gear Survive released not too long ago, and the fans fucking hated it. It was the first game that Kojima was not part of, and they tore it to shreds. It was a fucking disaster. And I don't think Konami is doing any kind of support for it anymore because it just failed. It was a huge flop. So it's nice to see this director come out and say, you know, I want to stick to what the game is about and make a good video game movie. To do this, he's been in talks with Kojima himself. He toured his new production studio, talked to him about the movie and all that stuff. And he basically said that he wants to make the movie as reflective as possible to Kojima's original story and original vision for the game. And I don't really think any directors out there so far who've done video game movies has tried to put that effort in to sort of stay with that aesthetic that was created when the game came out. So it's just a nice change of pace, and hopefully it all goes well. There's not a whole lot of details on the movie released yet, but the script itself has gone through many revisions since last year and has recently been finalized. So, you know, hopefully we'll be hearing something come out soon.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear, you know, respect for the original IP as well.
Oh, exactly.
You know, not just I'm going to cash in on this because nobody's done a Metal Gear movie, or a director coming in and say, you know, I've got this vision and I'm going to, you know, use this and do what I want with it. It seems like he, you know, is really, really respecting the value of the story and taking it very seriously. So that sounds good to me so far.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he can make that happen. But I'm definitely, as a fan of MGS, I'm pretty excited for it.
It's going to be very strange to see how he handles this, though, because Metal Gear is such a fucking weird thing. Like every game is just fucking weirder and weirder, dude. So I'm curious to see whether he tries to make it straightforward, you know, and we get, you know, the Ocelot story, or we get the fucking what's the other guy's name? I'm trying to think back now. It's been years. Yeah, Big Boss. You know, like where is he gonna take it? Because the first Metal Gear is not like chronologically the first Metal Gear. And if he's talking about his original vision and everything, like there's been I think half a dozen games, and they're all over the place as far as timelines and everything. It's a fucking mess to try to figure out what's going on and when it's going on too. So I'm very, very curious.
Well, the series itself spans from like the early 60s to like 2014. So there's a lot of storytelling to sort of pick and choose from there where you want to focus a movie on. Does he want to focus it at the very end where, Snake, the character, he's dying from some advanced aging disability, or does he want to start at the beginning and tell the story of Big Boss? It's going to be hard to say, but hopefully he pulls it off well.
Well,
hopefully.
As someone who never really played or get into the Metal Gear Solid games at all, I'm interested in seeing it. I mean, if someone has this type of a drive and look at to make a game that is not, or make a movie about a game that's not going to suck ass, because so many of them suck ass. So many of these movies come in and they're just utter garbage. I don't know if any of you fellas tried to watch the Assassin's Creed movie, but my fuck, what a piece of garbage.
Yeah, it was bad.
I made it in 30 minutes.
I don't think I made even 15 if I was that far. I'm like, this is just...
I finished it.
God.
I mean, that was mostly out of respect and adoration for Michael Fassbender, though. He's one of my favorite actors, so I sat through it. But it was bad.
It was utter trash. So, yeah, anytime they announce, there's been a lot of talks about the Uncharted and a lot of talks about the Last of Us movie. And it's like, I'm so worried as big fans of those games to be like, what they're going to do to just train wreck it. And then now that, we have people on board trying to do a Metal Gear game, and I know those games are fucking weird. So, I'm kind of like, hey, I'll be along for the ride because it's going to be interesting. And I never really played the games, so I don't know a lot of the history of it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because I do know they're pretty fucked up. So
personally, I can't wait to see the big walking tank robot being controlled by a buff man that launches lightning out of his hands. That's going to be the best thing in the movie, hands down.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Speaking of video game movies,
pants down.
So we were looking at movies to rent last night, and we watched Rampage, which is loosely based on a video game.
How bad was it?
It was terrible. It was freaking terrible.
I wouldn't even pirate that shit.
My girl picked the movie, and I gave her shit throughout. It was absolutely horrible. It was horrible. At one point, my girl said, "Oh, he can fly a helicopter," obviously referring to The Rock. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he learned it in San Andreas. Remember?" I think in many other movies, that guy flies a helicopter in every movie he makes now. It was horrible. It's atrocious. And I don't know if you can really make it based on like a video game from 1986, right?
Right. I remember
there weren't big storylines back then, and
no.
Did anyone even ask for this movie to be made, or were they just like, "Hey, here's an IP, let's do it"?
They're like, The Rock is not filming one of his 300 other movies this week, so let's get him to film this one.
Yeah, it's exactly like San Andreas, except there's an added helicopter.
That is totally what I felt like. I felt like the Rock now is he's making the same movie over and over. It's just a disaster.
Well, look at his new one. I mean, this is turning into a movie podcast, but look at his new one. It's basically Die Hard, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
Awesome. All right, so we still have more news to get to. However, we're creeping right up on this hour mark very swiftly. And we haven't got to the game of the week yet. So I want to cut this off now. I'm going to steer the ship a little bit. And our game of the week here, through much struggle, we finally came around to it. And we finally all were able to get on and play. This is called Iron Sight. And if you ask Panther, he'll probably call it Iron Shite. I think this is a great game. And before we really talk about it, let's go ahead and go to the clip. And hopefully Panther didn't fuck this one up.
Hey,
so enjoy the video footage here. We've got some highlights of Iron Sight and all of us playing. So we'll see you guys in a second. Everybody hit F7.
What the hell?
All right, we got to defend.
I may or may not have shit my pants. At least it looked like my character did.
Boy, you certainly wiped.
Then we are defending.
Yeah. The target activates in 5 seconds. Train's moving on the left.
Be advised, near secure point.
Oh, I got shot from above.
Be advised.
I just stabbed a man right in the chest.
One down, they're on the point.
They're off the
God, I'm
line.
down. Fuck. Holy
That
shit, they
was-
waited for us to get owned, and then
God damn.
they're coming on the fucking right side. 2 of them,
Right side?
3 of them, right, 4 of them, all on
See
the
'em.
right side, all on the right.
I got one down. I got the guy on the left.
Good job.
Fuck.
Occupying. They're occupying.
Recon in the air. Be advised, enemy is
Got him.
Ooh, suck on that one time, motherfucker.
Shit.
Secure the point. I'm on my way, boys.
And defend it.
And therein lies the problem. Oh, I'm down. As a secondary weapon.
Want to kill that guy, or I'll kill him for you, I guess, Mr. Lucas.
Shit. Oh, okay.
I like that. Add some
Once you
pizzazz.
show some enemies that'd be good.
Oh yeah! Fuck you! Ow! 2 in a row!
We gotta
Fuck you guys!
Control.
Fuck all you guys! Behind us, okay. Watch for grenades, boys.
Yep. Staying on the point as long as I can.
Yep. I'm
You
racking
gotta watch-
gravy points.
accomplished.
Let's go!
There we go.
We make it look
Right.
easy, boys.
Alright, I'll flank to the right. Oops, never mind.
Oh
just
god,
got
grenades,
grenades.
god, grenades.
Oh, they're all on the left.
Oh my god.
I got flashbanged
Worst.
and shot in the face. Trying to throw my grenade and took too fucking long to do anything.
Oh shit, I just committed suicide.
Coming over on that platform, the crane platform. To the very left.
Oh shit, I see him. Good call out. I got one of them. 2 more on there though. Shit.
I got one of the 2.
Yep, nice. Alright, on the point. Almost there, 80%. Come on guys, we got this. 90%. Ah,
Oh,
victory!
let's go.
Oh, fuck.
Woo! That was fun.
Yes. All right, and welcome back. So that was Iron Sight, and I think that we can all agree towards the end there, we started having some fun. What do you guys think?
I agree. That first game mode, nothing but campers with sniper rifles. And the game isn't without flaws for sure. But anyone that knows me, and you guys do know me, I'm not usually a big fan of the close quarters, really Twitch style shooters. I like the Call of Duties and stuff, and I seem to struggle with those. I used to be decent, but anyways, on the mouse and keyboard with this, once we played that other game mode where it was the more close quarters, fast paced, I'd done a lot better. That first game mode, I just couldn't seem to get nothing to work for me. It was frustrating, but yeah, the second game mode that we played it was a lot more enjoyable, and I was having fun. So yeah, I agree. For a free to play game, it seems like it's pretty in depth. I mean, yes, it's got the whole buy, spend money on me because you need to fix your weapon every 5 matches, and there's some things that because it's free to play, they have to monetize the piss out of it. So but overall, yeah, for what it is, it's actually surprisingly it plays rather well.
Yeah, and it's got some netcode problems for sure. I mean, it plays just like Call of Duty from what I remember of Call of Duty. We watch the kill cams at the end of the round, and I see people clearly missing and getting those kills. And it's in slow motion too, so it's even worse. Aiming way to the side.
The one guy reloading and getting the kill.
Yeah, reloading and getting the kill was great.
Yeah. But there was a little bit of lag here and there, but yeah, I mean,
but it's also currently still an open beta.
yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind as well, that this is not the finished product. But even so, right now, as far as a beta goes, and a beta for a free-to-play game, I'm very impressed by it, man. I'm having a blast. And I was able to convince Doing Work to get in on and play with us, our old buddy. So if for those of you guys that don't know anything about this game, really, for me, if you haven't been able to tell from the video that you just watched, we also were going to have the weekly video for a full match, or however long that these guys can edit it for. But we're going to show you more in-depth gameplay on that second video. But for those of you guys that still, if you maybe skip the videos or you're just not really that interested yet, it's very much, for me, a love child between Call of Duty and Counter-Strike. It's got the same fast-paced, like almost seamless gameplay to it. It's got the airstrikes and drones and stuff from some of the later Call of Duty entries. But even if you don't use those, the quick spawning, the very, very tight quarters reminds me a lot of Counter-Strike. And like we said, for a free-to-play game, it's actually got a lot of depth to it. I've been playing for probably 6 or 7 hours, and I'm only like level 15, somewhere around there. I don't have more than 2 weapons unlocked, and there's supposedly over 100 weapons. So each weapon has attachments and everything. I mean, it's a deep process. Now, it is marred by a loot box system, but it doesn't really seem that pervasive to me. I don't feel at all incentivized to actually buy them. We get rewarded with gold points, and slowly we also get those blue chip points. But we can buy these loot boxes with those in-game currencies, and we can pull weapons from that, or we can pull more credits. But yeah, I still, I feel good about just using the couple guns that I have right now and just exploring the attachments for those and eventually moving on. But it feels great so far to me. I don't feel like it's very pervasive. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't feel any, for the only little bit that I got to play. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like you're like, oh my God, I can't play anymore because I have to buy, time to play the game. Like, you're not forced to buy anything. But I mean, like I said, being free to play, they have to monetize it. So it does, the menu does look mobile-y. I mean, that's what we had last week with what the hell did we play last week? I don't remember.
Rules of Survival.
Rules of Survival.
I mean, that game was actually fun to play, and it was the whole mobile interface was a little off-putting, but overall, I mean, that wasn't a bad game. And yet again this week,
it was a blast.
And again this week here, another game that, like I said, after we switched game modes, even though I probably sounded like I wasn't having fun, it was a lot more enjoyable. I didn't feel like rage quitting.
Yeah,
I agree.
I knew Uber was getting excited.
Oh yeah, I was. Because the later game mode, what was it called? It was basically trying to take a hold point.
Secure point, yeah.
Secure point, right. It just felt like I was doing something good. Even though, I died 30 times in a match, I still felt like, okay, I'm on the secure point, I'm gaining points, I'm getting a kill here and there. I felt like I'm doing something to help the team. So it felt good. And I will say that it does feel a lot more refined than Rules of Survival. I mean, the menu and everything, it feels a lot more refined. And I was, when I watched Baker stream this game before I even downloaded, I was thoroughly impressed with how it looked for a free-to-play beta version. I'm the guy that downloads like every game that's free-to-play, beta, whatever, pay to play. I buy them, I download them all, and this game actually felt like it was pretty refined for where it's at right now. And free to play, we'll put the link in the description so you guys can check that game out as well. I had a blast, and I'm gonna go back to it as well. I played it on my own before I played with you guys, as did Baker, and I'll definitely be back playing this game.
Yeah, this is another one that I'm going to return to as well, for sure. I've been playing a lot of it this past week and just looking forward to pretty much any chance that I can get.
And that's the other thing, right? This is a game you can kind of jump in and jump out, just get a couple quick ones in, right? It's a game you can definitely just spend 30 minutes on and get a few, 2-3 games in and have a good time.
Yeah. Fatti, what did you think? You've been a little quiet over there.
And for good reason.
Oh no!
I'll be the outlier in this situation again. I fucking
Oh,
hated this
no.
game.
Wow, man!
I fucking hated this game, man. Halfway through our game through, if you look at my footage, you'll see I fucking gave up. I was walking around the map. I went and looked at a burger joint that was in the map. I went and looked at them selling like cell phones and like CPUs in the stand. I gave up. Like I play a lot of Call of Duty. I play a lot of Battlefield. And this game, yes, it looks good and it plays functionally good, but it fucking killed me to play. The hitbox on it, like you would unload a clip into someone, but they'd get you with one shot. The sniper rifles were overpowered like a motherfucker. And those drones, the air drones, suck my dick, air drone. Holy shit. Like I was biting my tongue to just not go off on this fucking game, but I could not do it. It does not get the thumbs up for me. I don't know.
Wow, I'm shocked. You didn't give it away, man.
Yeah, I near the end of it, I was just like, I'm gonna just shoot at things and look at things. Like I couldn't do it anymore.
No, I mean, I feel you on the whole, like the mechs and the drones and that type of shit turns me off. But when we were playing the second game mode, there was a lot more close quarters. It didn't seem as evasive as it did on the capture one, the first one we played. Those just seemed like it was nonstop. And like, yeah, I'm not a fan of those. That's what turned me off from the COD games back in the day was if you're a good player, all of a sudden you get rewarded with all these insta-kill fucking weapons. Well, how the fuck am I supposed to, as a mediocre player, ever supposed to get those and, ever get better because I'm constantly getting killed by, constant drones and gunships? It's annoying. And I mean, in the smaller game modes, you're more inside, a little less chance of getting struck with shit. But yeah, I mean, I that part of the game I don't like. And I'll agree 100% with you there. They can shove those up their ass.
Yeah, during it, I compared it to Call of Duty or CSGO on Adderall. It was just the first game mode we were playing was fucking chaos, and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, well, that's their biggest game mode. That's their version of Battlefield's Conquest. It's 20 players instead of the 12. So they are small game modes too. I mean, they're tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you guys are saying. I mean, the drones are bullshit. One thing you have to do as well is you have to pay attention because it alerts you when an enemy drone goes up, and if you get indoors, then you're fucking safe.
Right.
So it's useful for people to use both as an attack, but also as a diversion. Because there was one on the last game mode we were playing. We were outside. The point was, in that almost like hangar area, just out on the left side of the map there, and they were dropping one of the where it just drops multiple bombs, not the single one. But I got alerted that one of those was incoming, and I knew it was going to drop on the objective, so I fucking tailed it. I got out of there.
Yeah.
And I waited for it to drop, and I came back. But it's a dynamic. It's not just a cheap bullshit thing. They do have to drop it somewhere. You get alerted that they're going to drop it, and you probably have an idea of kind of where they're going to drop it. So I mean, I don't think that they're complete bullshit, but I do understand why you would feel that way, especially if you're just getting nailed by these things over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah, the first game mode we played, and I don't know if it was the team we were playing or if it was just the bigger teams, but I would spawn, I get killed. I would spawn, I'd get killed. And you do that 10, 12 times, you kind of get frustrated to where the second game mode we played, I felt like I said earlier, I was actually doing something at least to help the team. I'd still die plenty of times, but I'd got my kills because, maybe it's just the nature of this particular game mode. Everybody kind of funnels to a point. So you kind of know where the action's going to be. And, you'll luck out and get a couple kills here and there, maybe even 3, and maybe you'll throw a grenade and get lucky. In that first game mode, I just didn't feel that. I felt like I would spawn, I would run about 10, 12 meters, and boom, I die, every time. So it did get frustrating. But, I mean, that happens to me in Call of Duty, too, and Battlefield as well, depending on what game modes I play. So,
yeah. Yeah, like I said, that outside one at first was just, and like I said, we got to get against a team that just seemed to rack up the kills. They had snipers everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're so frustrating trying to advance, and with there being multiple routes, it does help. But in that smaller game mode, that second one, there was so many areas we could flank and take opposite routes, and you got behind the teams a couple times, and it made it was more the actual combat than worrying about drones constantly hitting the ground and shit and gunships. I found that you hardly even worried about them because you were mostly inside. There were so many tunnels and doors to run through. The smaller game mode fits that game better than the bigger game mode, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, if they could just have a mode without that shit, I'd probably enjoy it even more.
Yeah,
so we'll not see Fatti playing Ironside.
I was gonna say, is this the first game of the week that we don't all thumbs up?
Yeah, I'm not
so.
gonna thumbs up this. I might give it a shot, in the future. Maybe just jump in for a round, see if it can change my mind. But
Can I wiggle a thumb out from under you to where I can ask you objectively, do you think that you'd be able to recommend this game? Not for you personally.
yeah, if you're bored and you need a free game, like you don't want to buy something, yeah, fucking play this game. Like I said, it plays functionally well. It's a decent game in theory. It's just there's a lot of bullshit.
Okay, here's the true question: rules or survival or
Rules of survival doesn't matter. Wins every time.
Wow.
Wow.
Is it because of the bicycles that we got to ride?
Oh yeah. That and the rubber chicken. That's what wins.
Yeah,
That's what sets
the
it apart.
in-game Tinder also.
In-game
Oh.
Tinder.
Oh yeah, that doesn't help.
You guys forgot about that.
Yeah.
Funny. You were the first one to bring it up. you seem quite proud of
I can't
that.
talk about this.
Okay.
No response.
You pleading the fifth on that, are you?
Yes. Yeah, and every other one.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, take it as and what it's worth is the fact that it's a free to play and it's still in beta. So yeah, but I mean, it's the fact that and the one thing is it's not on Steam. So
Yes,
whether that's good or bad, I don't know.
Right.
It's definitely
It's an interesting choice.
on their
it
website.
definitely may hurt their exposure, but it's hard to say where they're going to go from there. Maybe eventually be on Steam. I don't know, but yeah, it's one thing to think about. It's not on Steam, so there's like a downloader you have to do and stuff. But I'll put a link to the game in the description. Not a problem. Consider that done.
Yeah, that is one thing I want to mention. It is a pain in the ass to get this game going.
Yeah.
You need your social security number, your shoe size, your email address. You got to confirm your email address. Send in a letter with a photocopy of your ID, and it logs you in eventually. Yes.
Send it by the Pony Express.
It does take some. Yeah, it does take some hoops to jump through to get into this game.
Not as many hoops as the fucking national hula hoop contest that Rules of Survival is to get into a game. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Can we say this in good conscience a week after that game?
That's a good point.
I mean, shit. I thought it was a joke. That's how bad it was to get in there.
Oh, you want to aim down? You want to aim down the side? Well, you need to download this patch.
God. Oh man. All right. So anyways, we do have links, of course, for everything that we've talked about. All the articles will be in the description. The Beyond the Controller YouTube page will also have the behind the scenes to where the behind the controller kind of video to where you'll see the extended clip as well. So as always, thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any comments for us, you can leave them on the YouTube, or all of our Twitter handles will be listed as well. But thanks for joining us here again. Hope you guys got some good news, and maybe we turned you on to a cool new game for you, or maybe something just to rage at. Depends. But as always, from all of us here at Beyond the Controller, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.